Hello, audioholics. This is Logan, and welcome back to Rolling Drones, the show where we go over the Rolling Stones top 100 albums, metal albums of all time. And today we are going to be doing multiple in one day, as you can see down here, and uploading them over the course of several days. So, with me to help me is
I'm Law
Tile
Tyler
Layer.
Law Tyler Sisto. That is my name.
Yes, yes. Blah Tyler. And
Sisto.
today we are going to be doing La White Zombie album that is called La Sexorcito. La Sex. What? I don't know. It's a
Law
fucking stupid
Sexorcist.
name.
I don't fucking know. It's a terrible
Devil's
name. What was
Music, Volume 1. What a terrible fucking name.
it's so
Right.
bad. And the album cover is just as bad. Like what were they thinking? Oh, let's just stand cool and then put a Snapchat filter on it.
I mean, like, I don't know. It's like has like the kind of like gory like serial killer look. Isn't there like a lady next to her that's like kind of next to him that's like kind of sexy?
I think it's just a picture of the band, isn't it? That's what it looks like.
Well, there you go. That shows what the band looks like. Anyway, go on your fucking spiel, Tyler.
All right, so I guess we're just gonna get right into it. Okay, so I
Yep.
guess I'll start with my thoughts. Let me just preface all of this by saying, guys, this is a fucking great album. Okay, it's a great album. If I were to rate it, which I'm going to in letter form, but if I were to rate it in number form, it would be somewhere between an 8.5 and a 9. That's probably what it deserves. You'll see why I want to take a little points off later, but it deserves to be at least there because it's a great album. And the reason it's a great album is because it's a great lesson in the Pantera school of groove metal. Now, listen, if you really loved Vulgar Display and you really loved Far Beyond Driven, you were probably a little disappointed with Reinventing the Steel. Maybe even Great Southern Trendkill. I personally love that record. This, if you were looking for something to fill that void other than Damage Plan, because hot take, Damage Plan sucks, this album really does compete with later Dimebag riffs, not just on Damage Plan, but in Reinventing the Steel, and even some of the riffs from Great Southern Trendkill, I'll be honest. As much as I love that record, and I think it has some of the best riffing of any groove metal record that's ever been made, still, this album is really good, really strong in that category. As for the vocals, Rob Zombie's always been a great frontman, even if you can't tell what the fuck he's going on about half the time, since he sounds like the drunk husband of the Charlie Brown teacher. Whatever he's doing still sounds badass somehow. The bass work, I'll admit, is pretty impressive on this one, but the guitar is really, really what you're paying attention to on this album, as it should be for a groove metal record, but it does take away from the other aspects a little bit. And also, it kind of does have a bit of a weak second half. A lot of the songs start to kind of run together towards the end, and like the songs just aren't as memorable. All the really good songs that you're going to listen to over and over again, most of them are from the first half. Also, the choruses on this album are really repetitive. A lot of them sound pretty much the same, even in the first half, and they're all pretty terrible, if I'm being frank. Yeah, I mean, this definitely belongs on the list, and if it were to show up anywhere, I'd rather it show up in the bottom 10, but it's definitely not the best album here. So, essential tracks for this album: Thunder Kiss 69, it's a classic, classic metal song. Black Sunshine, perhaps even more classic than Thunder Kiss 69 is. Soul Crusher, great deep cut. A lot of people don't talk about that song. Weakest track by far is Starface. I don't think you can argue anything else.
So, you
Oh,
were saying
yeah,
a B tier? All right.
yeah.
All right. So, I have maybe more complicated opinions on this one. And yeah, there we go. Yeah, I have maybe more like controversial thoughts on this one. So I would say, so to start off, technically, I have listened to this before, but I needed a refresh. Artwork is good, but not Rob Zombie good. Hillbilly Deluxe has some of the best album art of all time. I'm just gonna say that. And Rob Zombie's artwork has more or less consistently been pretty good. Like, he was supposed to be an animator for a Disney movie before Disney realized, oh yeah, this is Rob Zombie, and we need to like tone it down so the kids will actually watch this shit without being traumatized. So that, you know, that,
Honestly, like if Rob Zombie had made a show, it would be Courage the Cowardly Dog or
yeah,
something similar.
probably. Um, I'd say it's a good mix of groove metal and borderline doom in some cases. Um, I think it drags a bit. There are some songs that are good, but I wouldn't miss them if they had been sacrificed for a more condensed album. Namely, songs like Spider Baby and Starface, which, spoiler alert, is the weakest track on the album. And it, like Tyler said, you can't really argue much else. It's not even that it's bad, it's just boring. Overall, I will always have an intense amount of respect for Rob Zombie. Here's the problem with this album, though. Okay, so I'll give it a B tier under Mirror, but I just. It kind of devolves into self parody, not only like with the choruses, like he said, but also just like the riffs in general. Like a lot of them are in the same time signature, they're just very similar. And I don't know. I think that I would listen to this album again and I would recommend that you do the same, but don't expect a masterpiece album. Don't expect City of Evil. Don't expect, you know, From Mars to Sirius by Gojira. Just kind of turn your brain off. Don't really listen to it too much and just enjoy some nice kind of popcorn rock. Like, put it in the same vein as something like Twisted Sister or something like that. Not necessarily music to be taken seriously, but music to kind of just turn your brain off of and vibe with and just kind of headbang with. Um, I'd say the essential tracks, Soul Crusher, I would have to agree. I actually can't quite look at my list because my iPad actually died. But Thunder Kiss is a good one. What was that one that like kind of sounded like fucking Primus? That was weird. Um, but like, yeah, Starface. I just wish they would have cut that, and also Spider Baby. Again, they aren't necessarily bad songs. They're just the songs that I think are the most guilty of that self parody that I was talking about. But again, overall, I like this, but I prefer later White Zombie and early Rob Zombie and even earlier White Zombie, where they were like kind of like this punk group. Like Hillbilly Deluxe is one of my favorite albums. Oh, it's formulaic. Well, so is this, and it doesn't have a lot of variety and it doesn't have a lot of diversity. But at least Hillbilly Deluxe, I think, has more unique songs. Or like it has more songs that are able to differentiate themselves better. And I kind of like that sort of dive. I think it was probably like the next album onward into industrial metal. Shit like More Human Than Human. And then on Hillbilly Deluxe, Dragula, Living Dead Girl, with like the synthesizers and things like that. But overall, I think it's a pretty good album. I gave it a B, and it would probably be like a low 8 out of 10 or a high 7 out of 10 for me. So, do you have anything else to add?
Nope.
All right. Well, Join us next time when we get into
I hate God.
I Hate Motherfucking God. Goodbye, everybody.